Today, we're going to take a journey way, way back in time. We're going to explore the incredible story of our earliest ancestors and trace their path from just trying to survive day to day all the way to the dawn of civilization itself.
Just let that sink in for a second. Try to really picture it. This isn't some scene from a movie. This was the real world for the first people on Earth. And that's the world we're about to step into. All right, so our story kicks off thousands and thousands of years ago. We're in a world where life was just this constant, raw fight against nature. You got to forget everything you know about modern comfort.
Early humans were just part of the landscape. Their lives weren't all that different from the animals around them. It was all dictated by two very simple, very brutal rules. Find food and don't become food. The only goal was making it to the next sunrise. That's it.
But humans were different. Right in the middle of this constant struggle, something pretty incredible started to happen. Little sparks of ingenuity began to flash in the darkness. And those sparks, they would eventually set us on a totally new path, separating humanity from the animal kingdom forever.
Look, it is absolutely impossible to overstate how huge this was. The moment early humans learned to control fire, the whole game changed. This wasn't just a discovery. It was a leap in consciousness. It was us mastering a fundamental force of nature for the very first time. And fire wasn't just one thing. It was, like, everything. It gave us warmth when it was freezing. It was a shield, keeping predators at bay. But maybe most importantly, it let us cook our food. And cooked food is way easier to digest, which means more energy. And that energy literally fueled the growth of the human brain. Fire made us safer, warmer, and a whole lot smarter.
So after mastering fire, what was next? Well, mastering the world around us. See, humans weren't just living in their environment anymore. They started to actively shape it. They'd look at a simple rock and see the potential for a knife or an axe or a spearhead.
And this whole era of innovation, that's what we now call the Stone Age. It's this huge period of time defined by one thing: our ability to create tools to solve problems. I mean, think about the Achillean hand axe, this perfectly balanced teardrop-shaped tool. It was so good, it was the dominant piece of tech for over 1 million years. These weren't just rocks. They were extensions of the human mind. They made us better hunters, better builders, and better defenders. Now, tools and fire were incredibly powerful, no doubt. But our ancestors discovered something even more powerful than that: each other. The next giant leap forward wasn't technological at all. It was social.
I mean, it's a fundamental truth, right? A single human out there in the wild is, well, they're vulnerable. A twisted ankle could easily be a death sentence. A lone hunter up against a huge predator? Not great odds. Trying to survive on your own was basically a losing game.
But by forming groups, humans created a safety net. Suddenly, you could share food, you could protect each other, you could take care of the sick and the injured. And to coordinate all of that teamwork, you need to communicate. And those simple sounds and gestures, they slowly evolved into something much more complex. And that right there, that was the beginning of language.
This quote really marks a turning point in our story. Because with the safety that came from being in a group, the human mind finally had some breathing room. It had space to think about more than just where the next meal was coming from. It started to wonder and to imagine and to create.
And deep inside these dark caves, that creativity just blossomed. Our ancestors started painting their world on the walls, using charcoal and natural pigments. In places like Lascaux in France, they created these breathtaking murals of animals and hunts. And these weren't just pretty pictures. They were stories, maybe rituals. One of the very first signs of a mind capable of abstract thought, trying to figure out its place in the universe.
So now we get to the final, and maybe the most profound transformation of all. If fire and tools were the sparks, this next development was a complete supernova. It would reshape not just humanity, but the entire planet.
Think about it. For thousands and thousands of years, humanity had been on the move, always hunting, always gathering. But one single discovery put an end to that nomadic life forever. What do you think it was?
Farming. That simple, revolutionary idea, just planting a seed and waiting for it to grow. That is the bedrock upon which our entire modern world is built.
And the progression just makes perfect sense, right? Once you could grow your own food and raise your own animals, you didn't have to wander anymore. For the first time ever, humans could stay in one place. They built permanent homes, and those homes started clustering together, forming the very first villages.
So there it is, the whole journey laid out. It starts with a pure focus on survival. Then comes the huge discovery that allows for settlement. That leads to the formation of real societies, and finally, to the explosive growth of early civilization.
And with a stable food supply and permanent homes, human potential was just completely unleashed. People had time to specialize. You could become a better toolmaker, or a builder, or an artist, or a leader. And out of these first villages, complex cultures and structured societies began to emerge.
When you really step back and look at it, the journey of our ancient ancestors is it's epic. It's a story about this relentless will to survive against all odds. It's a story about a brilliant, constant drive to innovate. And it's a story of just profound, incredible growth.
Seriously, think about it. The computer or phone you're watching this on, the house you live in, the language you're hearing right now, the roots of every single bit of it can be traced right back to these first people, to their struggles, their discoveries, and their triumphs.
From a simple, sharpened stone all the way to the digital age, our species has always been defined by its next great leap. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's our next step going to be? Thanks for joining me.